And if the parties would just introduce themselves on the record for the court reporter, you can go ahead and both unmute now.
Hello, Your Honor. I am Tyler Reed. I am the child's father. I am the respondent in this case, but the movement on this motion.
I'm Haley Russell. I am his mother, and I am responding to this motion.
Okay. And before we proceed, I'll go ahead and swear both of you in. If you would both raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and let me just kind of lay out the groundwork of how this proceeding will be conducted since you're both representing yourselves. You have a 2-hour announcement, and that means I will divide the time evenly. You'll both get up to an hour maximum time. You don't have to use that, but that's the most amount of time given the 2 hours. And so since Mr. Reed is the movant, he will go first. And Ms. Russell, then you will go second. And then at the conclusion of the hearing, you will both be able to make a brief closing remarks after any evidence or testimony has been given. Any questions about the way the hearing is to be conducted?
Yes. Would you need an opening statement from me?
It's
I'm repeating what I put in the motion, I guess. So it's essentially the same thing. So I don't want to waste the court's time if you have read the motion.
Okay. Well, I think it's always helpful for the court, under the law, in order to modify, I guess I just need you to explain the facts and circumstances that you think support what you're asking the court to do. You don't have to read the motion to me. I'm not asking you to do that. But the court reporter is here taking the record, and I'm here to listen to the testimony of both sides prior to making the decision on this. So just a couple of minutes would be fine, Mr. Reed. You may proceed.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. The main reason I ask is because reading from a script is the most nerve-wracking thing to me.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that at all.
Yeah, I have something like that. I'll just follow my notes. Thank you. Okay. So I have submitted a motion to modify the temporary orders because I do not feel that they are the ones that are currently the current orders are in the best interest of my child. The modifications that I'm asking for are to have me named as sole managing conservator or primary joint managing conservator if the former is not granted. I'm asking that possession be modified so that the child resides primarily in my care, with Miss Russell having 1 weekend of possession per month, chosen by her, provided she gives written notice 2 weeks in advance. Or if that is not granted, we would adhere to the standard possession order, but with me designated as the primary conservator. And the third modification I'm requesting is removing any child support obligation owed by me to Ms. Russell. The current orders as they stand is standard possession order with Ms. Russell designated primary. We do live over 100 miles apart. So I've been getting, it's order that I get first, third, and fifth weekends, and I believe 42 days over the summer. Circumstances have changed quite substantially since then, and that is the testimony that I'll be providing, explaining that, the changes that have happened. Specifically, there was an incident last October in which Ms. Russell was a victim of domestic assault. And Grant, our son, together, he's lived with me almost exclusively since then. The last time he saw his mother was on February 24th. She has made negligible effort to keep in touch with him during that period or check up on his well-being at all. I've requested multiple times to have a conversation over the phone to figure out a path ahead for us, and she has failed to call me. despite telling me that she would several times. At the conclusion of this hearing, I will ask the court grant my motion in full. Thank you, Your Honor. I am now ready to be sworn in. Oh, I was already sworn in. Sorry. I am now ready to give my testimony.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take an opening statement from Ms. Russell if she would like to make one. Ms. Russell, you can give me your response to the motion and what you are asking the court to do at the end of this hearing.
Yes, ma'am. In October, there was an incident that happened here. Thankfully, Grant was not here when that happened. Huge relief on that. After that happened, we had discussed, just out of respect for Tyler's feelings about what was going on and me wanting to protect him from anything in the short term after that had happened, from any unknown things going on while there was an EPO in place. We had discussed him staying with Ty for more time until things settled down and things got back on track with normal life. We had gone to a week on, week off thing. And then after that happened in October, he stayed with him for longer than that, so that I could get things settled down here. And once things started to get back to normal, I have two older children. I have a 14-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter that live with me all the time. Sorry, gather my thoughts. So then once things started settling down, I would try to get my son back. And it was almost as if he wouldn't agree to let me have Grant back unless I agreed to changing the orders, if that makes sense. He wanted to have these big conversations about permanency that I was not comfortable with to go forward. Grant is already enrolled in school here. His sisters very much miss him. Things are settled down with that court case. Everything is pretty much back to normal. And I'm just ready for things to get back to the way they're supposed to be. But it feels like he won't let me get my child back unless I agree to these new terms. And so I have agreed to have conversations with him that haven't happened because he won't come off of what he wants to go forward. So I have not seen my child in almost 2 months because I won't agree to his new terms, and therefore we have not made the exchange. I've been trying to be level-headed and not I was in the works of filing a writ of habeas corpus, and he beat me with this motion to get that in. It was all drafted. I was ready to go, and then this motion came in. So I am just kind of at a loss for what to do, because I do believe that Grant should be with me. I know he loves his dad and everything is good there too, but he has sisters here he hasn't seen. He's enrolled in school for the fall, and anything that Tyler is going to use as evidence of things is from years ago. The photos that he's going to offer as evidence today are from a time when we were moving in 2023 and that were addressed at our original temporary orders hearing. And things are different now. So I just am ready to go back to normal, get my child in school in the fall, and move forward.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Russell, you may call your first witness. I presume that might be yourself, but let me know.
Mr. Reed. She's Miss Russell.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yes. Yes, I
It's
call myself.
Friday. It's been a week. Mr. Reed, you can just testify in the narrative. So in other words, tell me whatever you want me to know about the situation. And when you're done, you'll pass yourself as a witness. And then at that point, Ms. Russell will be able to ask you questions about your testimony.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor. I've prepared a calendar to kind of show how things have gone over time. If it will be of assistance, it's what did I mark it? Exhibit number one, I believe. Yes, exhibit number one. I can display it if you'd like to see it, and if you don't think that it will be of any use, then
That's fine. You may share your screen to show.
let me pull it up here. Sorry, one second. Let me get this prepared real quick. Where did I put this? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The opening system settings. One moment. It didn't let me set this up on the test. So. Oh no. Okay. I'm so sorry. I apologize, Your Honor. Can I rejoin the call really quick? It's forcing me to quit and reopen in order to share.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry about that. Yeah, one moment. Um, Wait. Oh, maybe not.
Alright, guys, today we are stepping into a courtroom hearing that starts off calm but quickly turns into a serious custody battle. Right from the beginning, the judge lays down the structure of the hearing, explaining how both parents will get equal time to tell their side of the story. It sounds routine at first, but the tension is already building underneath the surface. You can immediately tell this case is heading somewhere much deeper than a normal disagreement. Both sides are preparing to fight for control over a child's future, and the atmosphere already feels heavy before the real accusations even begin.
Oh, my apologies. No, it would allow me to do it. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. So exhibit one. All right. What I have here in this exhibit is calendar that I set up of everything that's happened since our temporary orders hearing was on October 23rd, 2023. Um, so I've done everything since then. Just to give as quick a recap as possible, there were a lot of events that have happened, and I don't want to waste time like just kind of feeling like I'm nitpicking everything going through this. But we started out with the SPO and agreed to our own modification of it pretty much right out the gate, where I would get where exchange days would be on Thursdays instead of Fridays. And for the most part, we followed that throughout all of 2024. And then beginning in 2025, we switched to a 50-50 agreement where it was week on, week off exchanges on Sundays. That's really where things get more relevant. But also, for more context here, I've included, because I'm an Excel nerd, I've just parental splits. The one here is days solely with the grant was solely with each of us. That means not exchange days, and then overall is exchange days included. So we have me, Haley, and then shared here, and you know, it'll just show over time that possession has actually swung over to me, where he's spent most of his time with me. So I will skip through most of this. So let me see where it gets relevant there. So one of the issues, and I'm going to have to kind of glaze over these because I didn't submit text message things and stuff like that. But there were several delayed exchanges that she gave last minute notice on. Not last minute, but day of notice. We'd be meeting on a Sunday, and she would text early in the morning that she couldn't meet for various reasons. But because I don't have those provided, I'm just going to call that out, but not mention every specific one. However, here in June, this was my summer time, and the way I requested it was I would have these first 2 weeks, and then she would have this week. Now, so there was supposed to be an exchange on the 16th. She was not able to make that one, so we met on this day instead. And then I agreed to let her have Friday, so my son got more time because he had spent quite a while away from her. However, I was only supposed to get this weekend of the 21st through the 23rd, And then she reported on the 23rd that she had car issues. And so she couldn't make the exchange on the 23rd. And at that point, I'm like, okay, keep me posted. I believe I asked her on the 24th when to expect her. And at a certain point, she went essentially silent. And granted, I just kind of wrote out the week and I just told him I'm not sure where she is. And so this is why there's such a huge block of my time in July here. June and July. And so the rest of this it was just kind of as scheduled with my summer possession time. And then we resumed the SPO. Around August or September, I cannot remember the exact date because it was something my son told me, but let's see how I'm doing this because it's hearsay. Well, okay, I'm offering this as an explanation for my reactions, I guess, at the time. But I cannot prove that my son said this to me because I didn't record him. But he told me that he had been camping with Miss Russell's ex, the father of her two daughters. For a bit of context on this, just shooting back in time really quick, she was with this man. His name is Jeff. Prior to our relationship together, she had historically described him as abusive. She had told me that he had physically abused her before. She had told me that he was not good for the children and had very little good to say about him. And had heard this over the span of years. So it was very concerning when I heard that this was going on. Then over somewhere around here in September, he started telling me that that's where he had been staying, was at Jeff's house, which is the house that Miss Russell is currently in, I believe. And
buckle up, guys, because this is the moment where the father completely changes the tone of the hearing. He doesn't just ask for small modifications, he asks the court to make him the primary parent and even remove his child support obligations entirely. Then comes the major revelation. He claims a domestic assault incident changed everything and says the child has been living almost exclusively with him ever since. What makes this clip powerful is how direct and calculated his presentation feels. He's not speaking emotionally here. He's building a case piece by piece, trying to convince the judge that the current custody arrangement no longer works.
If he had been living there, and he said yes, and I then asked Miss Russell about it, and she told me no, that they had stayed, I don't know, 1 or 2 nights. I cannot remember exactly, but she denied it. Despite that, each time I would see Grant, I would ask him where he stayed, and he would say he was at Jeff's house until eventually, I can't remember because I don't have these stored in text, but like eventually came to find out she said that she knew I would find out eventually. And that is why she didn't tell me that she had moved herself and my child in with this man. So let's see, there are gaps here. So just looking at September here, I don't know. Let's see, did I write it down? No, of course not. Something happened here in September where she missed a whole week. And then around October or November, I believe, is when I told her, sorry, I should have written this down somewhere, but I told her that I was going to need to take her to court, or we were going to have to agree to something else. Because I did not feel comfortable with the amount of time my child was spending in that house with her ex, who I've always heard was abusive. And then over the course here of November and December, eventually by the end of December, we had reached an agreement to start 50-50. Now you'll see here there is a visit on the 26th, this was after a conversation we had in which she implied to me that things were not going well with Jeff, and that she wanted to bring Grant down early, to stay with me and for her to get away from there. So I said yes immediately, just because I wanted my son to be away, and I allowed her to stay, um, a day. And then she left the next day, and then I had possession here. There was another visit on the second. During these visits too, we were having discussions. One of the Haley had shown me, on one of these evenings, a text message from Jeff. To paraphrase, it was saying something like he could only talk to her in a demeaning way, and it was not good for the children to hear him, specifically calling out my son, saying he should not hear this, and he should not think that this is how a man should talk to a woman. So she had shown that to me, and it was looking like this relationship might be over. She told me that she would be moving out. Told me that she was in the middle of moving several times, but then that move never happened. So this is typical, and this is just kind of like a normal Christmas thing going on here. Although we had agreed to do an exchange on Christmas Day, and because she was with Jeff, it didn't happen. And then we get to 2025. So here is where we're starting our 50-50, and already out the gate, an exchange was supposed to happen here on the 12th. It did not happen. She came to visit again, and then there was a quick exchange where it was just a quick weekend turnaround, and then he's back with me. So then we resume here. Oops, sorry. And more issues there. So anywhere, these should just appear as blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange. Anywhere not there, I think there's maybe one thing that we agreed to regarding something around the summer. But if there's anything not here, it is because she just decided not to come, or had some reason why she couldn't meet that day, and then it would just draw out until we did a much later exchange, and she had a much shorter possession. We see that here, like 2 blocks in a row in February. Just to add some context on this, I during several of these instances where it was multi-day delays in pickups, I had asked her to please give me an idea when she would show up, so I could tell our son when to expect, because I wanted him to have an idea when, just to have some kind of anticipation, because otherwise we were operating on a thing where it would just be, as soon as she let me know, I'd say, okay, Grant, we got to go get in the car. And I just did not feel that was good for him. He, at the time here, he was 4 years old.
All right, guys, now the mother finally responds, and this is where the courtroom tension really explodes. She admits there was an incident in October, but insists the child staying with the father was only supposed to be temporary while she stabilized her life. Then she flips the narrative entirely, accusing him of refusing to return their son unless she agrees to permanent custody changes. The most emotional part comes when she says she hasn't seen her child in almost 2 months because she refuses to accept his demands. Suddenly, this doesn't feel like a simple custody disagreement anymore. It feels like 2 parents completely trapped in a power struggle.
And there was very little consistency in his life other than our day-to-day routines, which he had been doing very well with me. But despite these requests, she just wouldn't really ever give me an idea, even though I was asking for the sake of our son together. Anyways, moving on. So March was mostly normal. April was mostly normal. There was this was an agreed to exchange going on here, I think in anticipation of something. But May, where should I put my notes? Did I not write any of these down? Okay, sorry, I will have to check during her testimony to see if I have things specifically called out for these. In June, went to New York and brought my son for my sister's wedding, so that these were agreed to adjustments going on here. And then, oh wait, no, sorry. This right here, this block of orange was because I had COVID. And then her mother took our son out to the beach for that weekend. So that is the reason for this extended period here. And then we get into July. This is makeup time, so that's agreed to. However, this week right here was not planned. And then we started here a little bit. And then right around here is where the wheels really start to fall off. Grant, so I think it will show up in some of the text messages I have as exhibits, but my frustration was palpable here because I was hearing things from my son um, where he was implying that he was unhappy at the house he was staying with his mother because of things that Jeff was doing. He just, explaining it as a 4-year-old does, being mean, yelling, a couple different instances. I do have some text shared with Miss Russell where I called attention to these with her, and she would offer an explanation that could be valid, but it's just kind of downplaying the issue when my son was telling me that he did not like living there, and it also corresponds with more and more time missed. She just kind of I don't remember if there was an explanation given for this week, but it was just missed, and then we go from that to this is the incident month. So she was supposed to have him this week, the week of the 12th. And this one I had pulled up. Where did I just put this? Just make sure I'm giving the correct explanation. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, I didn't get a follow up. Sorry, my apologies. I cannot explain that one with the notes that I gave myself. But she did, regardless, she called me on the 17th to inform me of the assault that happened on the 16th. And then she talked about a pickup or something like that. And then after some thought, I texted her saying that I had seen that Jeff was out on bail now, and that the idea of my son being up there at that same house that was his house before she lived in there, and potentially going in a rage about it because he's facing prison time here. I did not at all feel comfortable with my son being there, and then she agreed with that. And so that from that point on, without any kind of nothing definite, we decided Grant would be staying with me. She came down to visit these 3 days. And then there was another visit in November, which was very, very brief. I did tell her during this visit that our son had been mentioned. I didn't want him getting the idea that this was a thing now, like he was spending time with both his parents, because I didn't think it was good for him emotionally. And so I told her that while she could stay here, she needed to take him somewhere during the day so they could just have alone time together, to kind of establish that you get your time with mommy and you get your time with daddy. I told her that the night of the 15th, and then the morning of the 16th, she right after breakfast. I can even. It might have been before breakfast. She told us that her daughter was having an asthma attack at school, and she had to leave to go help her. So she did. She spent only a few hours with my son, or our son. Sorry. Okay, so then we get the first exchange, which was Christmas, and that happened. There were issues there. I wanted to address them with Ms. Russell after the fact, but I was so frustrated that it would just became, I just went into dad mode and I didn't talk with her right away. She made a request to see him on the like last minute kind of request saying, I want to get him this weekend. And I told her, no, we have issues to discuss. Um, the situation here was serious. Sorry, going back real quick. At some point here, I told her that I was getting Grant an iPad for Christmas. The main purpose for that was so he could FaceTime his mother and his sisters. She knew that. I told her that, and there were FaceTime calls on Christmas before we had the exchange, and since that, she only attempted to FaceTime him once, and we didn't see that call. And when I told her, "Hey, just give me a heads up," she just didn't even respond. So, anyways, going back to January here, she made a request to see him at the last minute, and I said, "No, I can't. I'm not going to agree to a last minute thing. We need to plan. Like this needs to be planned in advance. And there are things we need to discuss." And that discussion didn't happen. The same thing happened again in February around here, and I gave the same answer because I had not heard anything. She was not willing to have a discussion about this. One of them having to do with whether or not Grant even had a room really at the house anymore. Because, sorry, I'm trying to think. To explain my reaction why I wasn't allowing this to happen, I'm testifying that my son told me that he couldn't use his room at all during Christmas because it was so dirty. So I told Miss Russell that we needed to discuss that. At a certain point, she told me that the reason why he was saying that was because it was filled with storage bins or something, because they were organizing toys and he was just confused. And so he definitely had a room.
All right, everyone, this part may seem small at first, but it actually builds suspense in a very natural way. The father prepares to present evidence to the court, and struggles through awkward technical issues while trying to share his screen. But once the calendar finally appears, you can immediately sense that this exhibit is going to become the backbone of his entire argument. The pauses, the delays, and the build-up almost make the reveal feel more dramatic. It's one of those courtroom moments where you know something important is about to be shown, and both the judge and the audience are waiting to see whether the evidence actually supports his claims.
Anyways, I denied the first request because it was last minute. She this week she did another essentially last minute request, but I just kind of relented here because it had been so long since my son had seen her. He had gone the entire month of January without seeing his mother or even hearing from her. So I agreed to this exchange. Upon getting about for this one, I hear that his room, he couldn't even go into his room because the door is locked. So it just seems like something devastating has happened in his room, or it's just so out of control that he no longer has a room to stay in at that house. And she has not offered me any proof that he does actually have a bedroom at this house. And so since then, I multiple times have asked her throughout these next few months to have a discussion with me. I was discussing, just putting it bluntly, I need to be switched over to primary. Like, you have failed in your role as the primary parent here, and Grant is far more safe and secure with me. We need to do this. But it was not, I was not withholding possession from her based on she had to agree to that. I never, ever said that to her. I was just saying, we need to have a discussion about our son's future. And also, if you're going to request time with them, you need to give me an update, and also request in advance. Give something more than a day's notice. Because what happened during this exchange, she requested a call on the night of the 19th, and I just agreed, okay, we will meet tomorrow. And so Grant didn't find out until the morning of the 20th. And he was probably shocked by this. And we got in the car, and he immediately had an accident in the car. Didn't tell me about it. He just had an accident. Didn't say anything. And when I got him back, he then started having accidents every single day at his school for I think 2 weeks, just out of the blue. So I felt like this kind of like, visit without him being able to emotionally prepare was having an impact on him. And so I said, if you want time with him, we need to do it in a way that's good for him. And so just let's plan ahead for it. Like the only thing Miss Russell's saying is to do with me in terms of trying to schedule these things is always just asking the day before or the day of, even sometimes. And so that's what's happened here. She would not communicate with me, would not try to coordinate or co-parent with me, and only gave last minute, requests for time. And so the end result with these, that did not zoom the way I wanted to. But if we look at the splits here, I have the past 90 days, past 80 days, past year, and then the total running time. And they're pretty severe. And this wasn't me just trying to stat pad or anything like that. It wasn't being like, oh, I need to get this weighed heavily in my favor. I was protecting my son in this. And I also wasn't going to make an effort to try to get her to do the right thing, because honestly, I don't feel that he's really that well cared for with her. So I was waiting for her to show that she could act responsibly, and I have not seen that. There's a reason why I'm the person that filed the motion here too. I had told her that I was going to do it. She could have, there was nothing, I had no legal right to just like withhold this whole time. So she could have legally gotten him at any point, but she didn't, because I just don't know why. It's very sad for my son that he has an absentee mother, as far as I'm concerned. So that's how things have gone. I want to also testify that, so since starting the 50-50 arrangement, the weeks that my son has been with me, starting in March 2025, he has gone to preschool. He goes 3 days a week instead of the full-time, because full-time would mean he would there would be attendance counted and stuff, and I wanted flexibility for him. So it's just Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we just spend together because I work from home. And so luckily with my job, I have kind of collect royalties with it almost. I have like a lot of flexibility. So, he and I will just spend the day together, usually going out, on some kind of adventure, things like that. We have a routine, and it's good. The whole time he was with Miss Russell, far as I know, unless she has any evidence to prove otherwise, he had never went to any kind of school. And yeah, he, as far as I understand, he had trouble sleeping and just would come back not looking like he had been bathed, looking unkempt, etc. I have, let's see, do I want to go into? Yeah, let me pull this up with the last. Actually, I will save it for cross-examination.
Okay. Are you offering R1 as an exhibit?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question, Your Honor?
Are you offering R1 as an exhibit?
Yes, and that's yes. Oh, sorry. I thought I had already done that.
Now, Ms. Russell, is there any objection to R1?
No.
Okay, R1 is admitted.
Yeah.
Any other exhibits, Mr. Reed?
Let me quickly review. I apologize. Was a bit overwhelmed with how many examples, and so I didn't.
Okay, and you've reached 30 minutes of your hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that I think I could end my testimony there.
Okay, so you pass yourself as a witness. We
Yes.
remove the screen share. or just stop sharing?
Oh, there, I see it. Stop there. Good job.
Okay.
Buckle up, guys, because this section becomes extremely detailed and surprisingly intense. The father walks through a calendar documenting custody exchanges, missed pickups, delayed visits, and long stretches where the child allegedly remained in his care. What really grabs attention is his claim that the mother suddenly stopped communicating during one exchange period, leaving him with no clear answers about when she would return. He carefully explains every missed handoff and every schedule change like he's building a timeline for the judge piece by piece. This clip feels important because it shifts the hearing away from emotions and into documented patterns that could heavily influence the custody decision.
Ms. Russell, now is your opportunity to ask any questions you might have of Mr. Reed about his testimony or about the motion he has filed.
Can I just reserve for my narrative?
You can reserve all of your time if you truly don't have any questions about what he has told the court. You think it
I
would
would
be
rather.
more efficient? Okay. To just tell your own side of the story?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Then, Mr. Reed, let me ask you, as the movement on this motion, do you have any other witnesses to call or any other evidence to offer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
I
Then,
apologize. Sorry. Evidence to offer for specifically my testimony or in general, because I do have cross-examination evidence that I'd like to offer when.
okay. Well, I think if you don't have any other witnesses to call, Ms. Russell will testify, and then you will have an opportunity after she finishes to ask her questions.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Russell, you can do what Mr. Reed did, and that is testify in the narrative, tell the court about the situation and what you're asking the court to do or not do here.
Sorry. First of all, just because it's kind of eating at me, I would like to show my child's room if possible.
That's fine.
Okay. Is it going to mess with you if I walk? Do you want me to turn the camera off while
That's
I walk?
okay. I'll avert my eyes. That's fine.
Okay. Just because it's such a basic thing. That's my daughter's room. This is my son's room that he's had since we've lived here.
Okay.
Just, it exists. My daughter's room exists. Just wanted to scratch that off on my thought list.
Okay.
Sorry, let me get seated.
That's fine.
Okay. I think that you heard him mention that he had just told me no to picking him up and that we needed to have these conversations, and I could have legally come to get him and I chose not to. I did not want to put my son in a position where I'm showing up with police officers, and that seemed very traumatic, and that's why I had drafted the writ of habeas corpus. I have an attorney friend who helped me get that all going. It's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't do that a few weeks ago. Whenever I realized that Mr. Reed was not going to easily allow my son to come home. The threat that he mentioned is non-existent. My older two children are happy, healthy. We have award ceremonies to go to today. They are high achieving, healthy, clean, happy children who very much miss their brother. And that's really what I feel I need to say here. I feel like from the beginning of this case, it's been, I don't want to say a game but it's been a goal of Mr. Reed to swing the time over to his side to get a modification done. And he used something unfortunate that happened here in order to do that, it feels, is what he thinks is happening. I don't know really how to word it to express how much I just want to get my son home. I miss him very much. He has been enrolled in school here. He's registered for the fall, and I have all the legal rights to do so as it stands. And he's just not allowed him to come home in a way that has felt peaceful and safe. So that's really all I have.
Okay, why don't you tell me a little bit about the situation with your ex and the assault and how all of that has unfolded, and then what your current living situation is.
I'm currently living in the home that I have been in. Whenever that happened, he agreed to that, and for consistency for my girls, he is looking at prison time. His current offer from the prosecutor is 3.5 years. And that has been his offer for the past 4 or 5 hearings. So it's looking like they're going to set for trial because he's denied that. And that's probably what will happen. I'm getting child support from him. And I mean, I thought whenever I originally moved into this home with him, it was not dangerous. It felt like kind of a chance for my older children to have things resolved and for Grant to be in a more stable home. And unfortunately, he started struggling with alcohol, and an unfortunate event happened. And I realized that that's not what's going to happen for our lives. But we are now here, and I'm in a stable home. And I just feel like Ty has taken advantage of what happened in order to swing custody over to him. I originally agreed to letting him spend more time with Ty in order to make sure nothing happened that was dangerous for Grant. And since all of that has gotten resolved, he has not allowed him to come home.
Okay. And your ex, remind me his name.
Jeff.
Okay. And he's currently incarcerated?
No, he is out on bail.
Okay.
On bond.
And where is he residing?
His sister's house.
Alright, guys, this may be the most explosive revelation in the hearing so far. The father claims his son told him he had been living with the mother's ex-boyfriend, a man the mother herself had previously described as abusive. According to him, she first denied it, but later admitted she knew he would eventually find out. The tension here is incredibly strong because this is no longer just about scheduling conflicts or missed exchanges. Now the conversation shifts towards safety concerns and the environment the child was allegedly living in. You can feel the seriousness rise instantly as the father explains why this discovery completely changed his trust in the situation.
Okay. And are there any orders in place that keep him away from you or your residence?
He's on a tether.
Okay. So a monitor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that order of protection, does it extend to the children in the household or just to you?
To the children as well. Well, I'm not sure if that expired after the initial 90 days or...
Okay. That was a part of the bond conditions or
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. And have you had contact with him since his release?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have through, to make arrangements for things, but not directly.
Okay. All right. And I guess, so what is the school that you have enrolled?
Birdville ISD.
Okay. Kerrville?
Birdville, Birdville.
Okay. And where is that?
Hurst, Texas, north of, I'm up in Fort Worth because I
Okay.
had the exclusive rights to his residence and everything. And Judge Arth gave me the right to move up here.
Right. Tarrant County or Travis County.
Yes,
And you're
ma'am.
still in Tarrant?
Yes, ma'am. That's where my entire family is. That's where all the cousins are. That's where I'll stay.
Okay.
And that's where my girls have been in school since 2023. And they're very active in their extracurriculars.
Okay. And so, and the actual city that you're living in is what?
Westworth Village, 76114.
Okay. And the home that you showed us the images from, is that, or are you leasing or do you own it?
Leasing.
Okay. And is the lease in your name?
It's technically in both of ours.
Okay. But you're still on the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're still able to afford the lease?
He paid it through the year.
Okay. All right. And if he gets incarcerated, are you going to be able to continue to pay?
Yes, ma'am.
lease? Okay.
Given I mean, I say that with the expectation that things will be back to normal and I'll be getting child support again from Mr. Reed because I've gotten nothing since kind of probably since we started. It's been since before September that I've gotten any child support from him.
Okay.
Which I agreed to because he had the child more, but with going forward would not be workable.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want me to understand about the home situation, the family dynamics, or any other response to Mr. Reed's motion to modify?
Just that I have extensive family here, support, that we have lots of cousins. We have, I mean, my sister and her daughters are here, my mom, just lots and lots of cousins, lots of family. We lived temporarily with my grandparents after Tyler and I split, and I moved back up here. He's very, very close with my grandparents, his great grandparents, who he has not been able to see. Just lots and lots. I mean, if you look at Holly factors, we're doing good on that here.
Okay. All right. Anything else I need to know about your son or this case?
Just that I miss him very much.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. You pass yourself as a witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Reed, this is your opportunity to ask Ms. Russell any questions that you may have about her testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. Okay, Ms. Russell, do you have any sources of income right now?
Yes.
Can you explain?
I've been doing freelance hand lettering and working for my cousin, her photography.
Ms. Russell, would you mind adjusting your camera? I can't really.
Sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
And I have also been in works with working for the City of Westworth Village Police Department. We're waiting for the case to close out all the way so that it doesn't create like a conflict of interest with Jeff's court case, but I'll be hopefully doing dispatch for them once this is all over because the police department's in our backyard.
Can you confirm that you previously told me that the lease that at the house that you're at was ending in April this year?
I don't recall exactly when it was supposed to end, but we were on month to month basis before he paid up through the next. I think now we have 8 months left.
All right, let's see. Okay. Before the incident, were there signs that the incident may happen? Were there problems at the house?
There was one day that was not good that I remember sharing with you, but other than that, things were not terrible.
So there was no consideration to moving out of that house.
There was.
Okay. If you were to move out of that house, where would you move?
Temporarily, probably into my mom's apartment that she has in the back of her property.
All right, everyone, this is the turning point where the custody dispute officially becomes a legal war. After learning more about the living situation, the father says he confronted the mother and told her they either needed a new agreement or they would end up back in court. What makes this moment important is that it shows exactly when cooperation between the parents allegedly broke down completely. Up until now, there were still attempts at informal arrangements and flexibility, but this clip marks the moment where fear, distrust, and legal pressure fully take over. From here on, every interaction between them starts feeling strategic instead of cooperative.
Can you confirm that you had told me that he had previously physically assaulted you prior to us being together?
A long time ago.
Um, was there something that led you to believe that that might not happen again?
Yes, or I wouldn't have put us here.
Okay. Can you acknowledge that you did not tell me when you first moved in back in Woodruff?
I think that we had stayed here a few times and had not yet intended to move in. And I didn't tell you about those times that we stayed here.
Do you think that was the appropriate choice to not tell me?
No, I don't.
Was anyone else present at the house when the incident occurred?
The girls were here.
Did the girls hear the incident?
Yes. That's why I was so thankful that my son was not here that day.
Okay. Can you confirm that over the course, since the initial temporary orders went in place, that there were several missed exchanges, or at least delayed exchanges?
When are we talking about?
Talking about through, let's say from 2024 through September 2025. Days in which we were supposed to meet, where I was returning Grant to you, that you told me the day of that you could not meet.
Yeah, I had lots of car trouble at that point.
I expressed displeasure, I guess I could say, with how late the notice you were giving us multiple times. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall ever apologizing?
No.
Okay.
I recall apologizing for my lateness.
Do you recall times that I asked you for updates regarding when to expect you in the interest of our son?
I do recall that. I don't recall not giving that.
Okay. All right, let's see here.
There might have been times where you texted and I called, you called and I texted. At this point, that feels like a very long time ago.
Okay. Your Honor, I would like to offer exhibit respondents exhibit 7.
Okay, you're going to need to display it on the screen so Miss Russell can see it and tell the court whether she has any objection to it or not.
Okay. Ms. Russell, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, the exhibit that I'm showing here is this one. Any objection?
No.
Okay. What are we looking at, Mr. Reed?
This is a text message exchange between us. It was it's not a standard screenshot. There were so many that we have so much text history together that I found an app basically to kind of like make it much easier to read, plus adding all like the timestamps and everything. Just to explain.
R7 is admitted.
Okay. Appreciate it. Okay. Let me, Your Honor, let me know if you have any questions about what any of this stuff means. Also, just to preface this, at a certain point, you will see a change in phone number from Ms. Russell. So I guess the first thing, Ms. Russell, can you confirm that this is your old phone number right here?
That's my previous phone number.
Previous. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So what I'm showing here is an text around the exchange that we had in August of 2025. Do you remember this? Looking at this?
I do, and yes, I do.
Okay. Um, can you acknowledge that when I asked you about how do I describe it? The infection on his lip, that you offered no response?
At that point, I do remember that he had a little red bump kind of right here that had appeared that morning. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was just snot. As you'll note, I said, we need a wipe right before I gave him back to you. We need a wipe. It turns out the next day I got a call from my sister that her kids had impetigo. I didn't know yet. And it turns out that that's what Grant had. That was the first day that we had seen anything on his lip. He actually got it from my mom, who got it from my sister's kids. They hadn't seen each other, that exchange. And it turns out whenever you took him to the doctor, it was impetigo.
Okay. I'd like to offer Respondents Exhibit 8.
You'll need to display it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm not getting the regalia. Do I click it first and then ask?
Yeah, you need to open it up so she can see it.
Okay. And then I ask. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay.
So R8 was offered, and it's a photograph of the bump on the lip. Miss Russell, do you have any objection to R8?
No.
It's admitted.
Okay. All right. So I regret taking this picture after he had a shower because it looked much worse beforehand. But this was taken the evening of. I just want you to confirm that you were saying that this showed up on his lip that morning.
It was not that bad whenever I had him with me. No. It looked to me like, you'll notice he has a little bit of snot on his nose. It looked just like regular allergy irritation. It didn't look like that.
Okay.
An impetigo is a normal childhood thing. My older two never got it, but
Okay. I'd like to offer Respondents Exhibit 9.
Any objection to R9?
no.
It's admitted.
Okay. Do you recognize this portal, Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Okay. This screenshot was taken yesterday, I believe, and it's still showing here because it's not linked with the doctor right here. But do you acknowledge that they had pretty significantly overdue vaccinations the time that he was with you, primarily in your care?
For a couple of them, he was overdue, yes.
Buckle up, guys, because this final section leaves the courtroom sitting in unresolved tension. The father describes private conversations where the mother allegedly admitted things were going badly with her ex-boyfriend, and even showed him disturbing messages that raised concerns about the environment around the children. He says she talked about moving out multiple times, yet the situation never truly changed. What makes this clip so gripping is that it paints a picture of instability right before the hearing reaches its deeper stages. By the end of this segment, the judge is left hearing claims about emotional conflict, broken promises, and uncertainty surrounding where the child should actually live moving forward.